आज ही डाउटनेट ऐप डाउनलोड करें। डाउटनेट पर होगा अब आपके सभी मैथ्स, केमिस्ट्री, फिजिक्स और बायोलॉजी डाउट्स का सफाया। बस अपने क्वेश्चन की फोटो खींचो, उसे क्रॉप करो और तुरंत वीडियो सोल्यूशन पाओ। डाउनलोड नाउ।
Hello friends, welcome. The question state the savings from a person's income and his expenditure. So we are going to talk about the saving from a person's income and his expenditure. The ratio of Mark's income, so it is Mark who is a person and his income is what we are talking about. To his boss's income is 3:4. So the ratio value is given, not the absolute value. So income of Mark. So first we are talking about the income. So the income of Mark to his boss is, so the income of Mark's to his boss is 3:4. This is going to be 3:4, right? And their respective expenditure ratio is 1:2. So their expenditure is in the ratio 1:2. 1:2. So I have the ratio of their income and the ratio of their expenditure. Now the question states that which is larger. So check the options. It says that if column A is larger, if column B is larger, if columns are equal. So it is talking about column A and column B. And option D is if there is not enough information to decide. Now here notice guys that we definitely don't know about the absolute values, but we simply have an idea of the ratios. So let us try to look into this question using ratios. The column A says the saving from income of Mark and column B says the saving from income of Mark's boss. Now just to let you guys know what saving actually is, if you don't know, then saving is simply income minus expenditure. So income minus expenditure is actually saving. Now whenever something is represented in form of ratios, we can say that they are actually equal to some other value, but their only ratio is actually given to us, right? So this is not the exact value. We cannot say that income of Mark is 3. It is actually 3 times something. This is the concept of ratios. So what we actually do, we multiply them by a constant. So it is in the ratio 3:4 multiplied by some constant k1. So this 3k1 is the actual value. Similarly 3k1, right? So 3k1 is the 4k1 is the actual value for the boss's income. So for Mark's income, the actual income is 3 times k1. And for boss's income, it is actually equal to 4 times k1. Similarly for expenditure, now since this is a different ratio, entirely. This was for income, so we took constant k1. For expenditure, we are going to take different constant k2. So it's going to be 1k2 is to 2k2, right? And when we actually take a ratio, so if you are asking me to take a ratio of these values, so if I take the income ratio of Mark to his boss, definitely it's going to be 3k1 upon 4k1, and k1 are going to be cancelled out, which is equals to 3/4, and this is represented at 3:4. So 3:4 is actually, for if I want to represent them in actual values, definitely they are 3k1 and 4k1. So this is 3k1 and this is 4k1. Similarly expenditure, since on a different ratio scale, it's going to be k2 is to 2k2. So k2 is some other constant value that we have taken because those two are not same. So now let us talk about two different cases. So first we are going to talk about simple values. So let us assume k1 is equals to 100. Similarly k2 is equals to 100. So k1 and k2 both are 100. We are assuming it since no values of k1 and k2 are given to us. Now k1 is also equals to 100, k2 is equals to 100. So I can say that saving of Mark in this particular case is equals to income minus expense, right? So if k1 and k2 are 100 and 100, so his income is going to be 3k1. So 3 times 100 is 300 minus expense. So expense is going to be 1 times k2 and k2 is 100. So 1 times 100 is going to be 100. This is equals to 200. Similarly, I'm going to say that the saving of boss is equals to, so 4 times k1 is 400 minus 2 times k2, which was expenses 2 times k2 and income was 4 times k1. So 2 times k2 and k2 is once again 100. So it's going to be 200 because twice of 100, as we have assumed k2 as 100, is going to be 200. So 400 minus 200 is once again equals to 200. So you see in this case that both of these values are coming out to be equal. And we see that an option C, that is if the columns are equal, actually matches in this particular case. But let us take another value. Since no constant values are given to us, let us calculate for another value. Now I'm going to say that K1 is equals to 100 and K2 is equals to 200. Because no absolute values are given, so let us take K1 as 100 and K2 as 200. Now in this case, the saving of Marc is equals to, so it is going to be 3 times of K1 minus 1 times of K2, 3 K1 minus 1 K2, right? And now let us replace the values because K1 and K2 are different. Here both were 100, so we simply replace the value, but here we can end up in a mistake. So let us write first the formula, which is income minus expense, which is 3K1 minus 1 K2, and K1 is 100, so 3 times of K1 is going to be 300 minus 1 times of K2, and K2 is 200, so definitely 1 times of K2 is 200, so I can say that it is equals to 100. So saving of Marc this time is 100, and saving of boss, it is going to be 4K1 minus 2K2, so 4K1 minus 2K2. K1 is equals to 100, so 4 times 100 is equals to 400 minus twice of K2. K2 is 200, so twice of 200 is going to be 400. So 400 minus 400, definitely it is equals to 0. So in this particular case, comparing these two values, I am seeing that saving of Marc is larger. So in one of the cases, I saw that saving of Marc is greater than saving of his boss, right? Saving of Marc is greater than saving of his boss. On the other case, I saw that both of those values are actually equal. That means we are getting different outputs from this particular question or this particular data that has been given to us. So definitely we have to tick the option. If it is an option, it said if column A is larger. So we got column A in larger in one case, which is the saving from income of Marc, and option C is if the columns are equal. So we also got columns are equivalent. So we cannot take both the answers because one of them has to be correct. And option B is if column B is larger. So column B is larger, we may get some cases, but from our test cases, what we tested, we actually saw that we are obtaining different kind of answers. Or as we change the values of the constants, we are actually getting different answers. So for some values, they both are coming equal. For different value, one can become larger, and we will, if we suitably change the values of K1 and K2, we may even attain negative values, which is not possible. So definitely my answer is going to be option D, which is if there is not enough information to decide. We cannot decide, right? We are not able to decide. So option D is going to be correct because option A can be correct, option C can be correct from our test cases. And once we have attained a solution where we can actually prove that multiple cases are coming out to be true, then definitely we will mark option D, which is if there is not enough information to decide. For this particular question, then our correct answer is going to be option D, which is not enough information to decide, because as we change the values of K1 and K2, we can say that option A is also coming correct, option C is also coming correct. So this is definitely not possible because only one option has to be correct, right? So our correct answer is option D, which is not enough information to decide. So for this particular question, where the ratio of income was given to us 3:4 and the expenditure was 1:2, then we cannot decide because there is not enough information given to us. That is it, guys. Thank you so much for watching.
क्लास 6 से 12 से लेके नीट IIT JEE मेंस और एडवांस के लेवल तक 10 मिलियन से ज़्यादा स्टूडेंट्स का भरोसा। आज ही डाउनलोड करें डाउटनेट ऐप या व्हाट्सएप कीजिए अपने डाउट्स 8400 400 400 पर।